Straight ahead on 12 News, talking purple in Maple Grove. A Vikings official gives an update on the new stadium. Then, preparing for Ebola. State health officials play out a possible scenario. But first, preparing for a water emergency. Why rates in 3 local cities are going up. 12 News starts right now. Hello and thanks for joining us. Residents in several local cities will start seeing higher water bills this month.
New Hope and Golden Valley have tacked on an extra 20-cent charge for every 1,000 gallons of water used. In Crystal, it's an extra 21 cents. As Delane Cleveland reports, the extra money will help keep the water flowing in a worst-case scenario.
On a small stretch of land along Brunswick Avenue in Crystal, crews are hard at work with hoses and heavy equipment building a well. It's an important project for the city.
We haven't made any really big investments in our water system for a long time.
Not real excited about it. It's been frustrating.
But talk to John Hillscamp, who lives right across the street, and it's also loud.
Yeah, it's another little nice byproduct that's been going on for about 3 weeks.
According to Crystal City officials, temporary disruption of the peace and quiet is a small price to pay to ensure the flow of water.
This is well number 1 of 3 wells that the Joint Water Commission decided last year to build an emergency water system.
An emergency water supply is something Crystal and the 2 other cities that make up the Joint Water Commission are lacking. Golden Valley, New Hope, and Crystal all get their water from the city of Minneapolis. Minneapolis gets its water from the Mississippi River, but if the water were to ever be contaminated or there were a drought or something were to happen to the water plant, then those 3 cities could be in trouble.
The economic loss of these 3 cities of not having drinking water, not being able to flush toilets, etc., would be a lot of money.
So they decided to build a $4 million emergency water supply system. Crystal's share of that project is $1.2 million.
You know, it is what it is.
Crystal utility customers will pay for it in the form of a 21-cent fee on their water bill.
I guess in an emergency situation, I like the fact that they do have a backup. That's probably not a bad idea.
Of course, the goal is that they'll never actually need it.
But that doesn't mean that it couldn't happen.
In Crystal, Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
The Crystal officials say the 21-cent charge on their water bill will be in effect until the city's share is paid off. Emergency responders got a crash course today on what to do if someone from Minnesota contracts Ebola.
Reporter Sonia Goins has more on the mock Ebola drill.
So we're going to now review the scope of this exercise.
Officials from across Minnesota packed a conference room to find out how to respond if someone contracted Ebola. The tabletop discussion included a real-life scenario.
We went through a very short scenario this morning of a fictitious person that is diagnosed with Ebola, who is an elementary school teacher, has a family, has children, lives in an apartment complex.
Experts then talked about sending out that information to health professionals, schools, and the general public.
Should that case be tested as presumptive positive from the Minnesota Department of Health lab, we anticipate that we would make that known to the public within a matter of hours.
Officials didn't say which hospitals would be treating Ebola patients, but they say they are ready.
If we have a case, we have a team of epidemiologists who will immediately work with that facility and all of the contacts of that individual to follow up on what kind of exposures they have.
The Department of Health also talked about keeping track of Minnesotans who had recently traveled to Liberia and other West African countries.
They will have received a thermometer. They need to take their temperature twice daily and be monitoring for symptoms. So our monitoring would be to check in with them on a regular basis, not only to look at whether or not they have a fever, but also to look at if they have any other symptoms.
But overall, they say the chance of the general public getting Ebola is slim to none.
Get a flu shot. That is a greater risk to Minnesotans than Ebola is at this point.
Sonia Goins, 12 News.
The Minnesota Department of Health will hold an Ebola information session at North Hennepin Community College. That's this Saturday from 6 to 8 p.m.
12 days now until the election, and candidates for Brooklyn Park mayor are taking time to focus on issues impacting youth. Both have experience in such matters. Incumbent Jeff Lundy has 2 sons, and challenger Joy Stevens has 4 children. So what can be done to help kids in Brooklyn Park? Stevens feels there needs to be more investment in the southern part of the city. Lundy says safety and transportation are top priorities.
There's a lot of emphasis on developing parts of the city north of 610, around 610, which is very important. But we have an older part of Brooklyn Park. It's a part of Brooklyn Park where I live that also needs attention. So those would be the things that for me would be most important.
You know, I look at Zanewood, where we started a program for after school. We have participation up 60%. Youth crime is down 40%. I think there's a distinct correlation that if you give kids something good to do, they are going to take a choice.
Lundy also wants to see some sort of internal city bus system to help kids and seniors get to activities or to the grocery store.
The Minnesota Vikings may be struggling on the field, but there are positives on the new stadium front. Vikings Stadium point man Lester Bagley was in Maple Grove today speaking to the North Hennepin Area Chamber of Commerce. According to Bagley, the new venue in downtown Minneapolis is 23% complete. It's scheduled to open in 2016. Construction is being fast-tracked because there is little room for delays.
No room for error, but we've got a great group. Mortensen Construction do an outstanding job. HKS, the architect, has designed, we think, an iconic building. It's going to be nothing like it in the NFL. It's going to be great fan experience, seats and suites closer to the action than any other in the league.
Bagley also discussed how the stadium plays a role in Minnesota's pursuit of a Major League Soccer franchise.
A local company with operations in Brooklyn Park is getting a big boost to train more than 400 of its employees. Rogers-based Metro Mold and Design will benefit from a new job training partnership with Anoka Ramsey Community College. It was made possible by a $375,000 grant from the Minnesota Department of Employment and Economic Development. The job training partnership will help Metro Mold meet increased production demands. Metro Mold opened its Brooklyn Park facility 2 years ago to expand its medical device manufacturing division.
If you see plenty of job openings at restaurants, there is good reason. A record number of them opened in the Twin Cities. The Star Tribune reports more than 90 restaurants have opened since January 1st, and another 40 plus are on the way. Only a handful of them are in the Northwest Metro. Most are in Minneapolis. The local ones that opened this year include Pub 42 in New Hope, Patrick's Bakery in Maple Grove, and the new Travail and its companion bar and restaurant, the Rookery in Robbinsdale. Coming soon to the area, Pyology Pizza opening next month in Maple Grove, and new Bohemia German restaurant in December. That's in Golden Valley. Up next, we're off to Brooklyn Center High School to meet this week's standout student.
And then later in sports, the race is on for local runners at Section 6 cross-country championships.
But first, a picture-perfect day in the forecast on Friday.
This week's standout student is a Brooklyn Center senior who knows what she wants.
Hodan Jibrell hopes to use her talents to help children one day.
If we have an X in the numerator and an X in the denominator, what can we do?
17-year-old senior Hodan Jibrell has a drive to work hard and be her best.
I always like to get things done. I always like to strive for the best.
It's a work ethic the Brooklyn Center senior credits in part to her parents who emigrated from Somalia.
My parents want to push me to succeed in like a very high standard. It's like they don't want me to settle down for something small.
She's already making big contributions as Student Council president, National Honor Society secretary, and a violinist in the school orchestra.
She's very thoughtful and thinks of great ideas, and sometimes, you know, you can just look at her and tell that she has a good idea in her head.
Art teacher Chris Edmonds first recognized Hodan's ability through her artwork.
This is kind of like a self-portrait that we had to take.
Whether it's digital art, photography, or a large-scale project.
Right now we're sketching people of like diversity of the school and different types of people talking to each other.
Art is an outlet for Hodan to express her creativity.
She brings a lot from her family, her past, she can put together a lot of different ideas that are totally different than what other students in the class are doing.
That ability to think outside the box could serve Hodan well as she considers the next chapter and dreams of one day becoming a pediatrician.
I want to help sick children, and I want to like study like the reasons why they're sick and stuff, and like ways to help them out.
Hodan hopes to attend either the University of Minnesota or the University of Washington.
Coming up, a catch-22, a remarkable sight that can damage your eyes.
But first in sports, highlights from state soccer, including the Wayzata boys and Park Center girls. Jay Wilcox is in next.
I'm Jay Wilcox with sports. It's a one-day race with past results not really counting anymore. Spots in the state meet are on the line for local cross-country runners this week. To the Section 6AA meet, the Wayzata boys with another strong team, but it's Hopkins' Joe Klecker winning the race. Klecker pulls away from Wayzata's Connor Olson and clocks a time of 15 minutes, 27.2 seconds. Olson is the runner-up with a time of 15:33. The Trojans take 5 of the top 10 spots and they win the team title. The Wayzata girls also trying to defend their section title. Senior Anna French wins her 4th straight section meet with a time of 14 minutes, 4.4 seconds. Annika Lerdahl is 3rd for the Trojans and Michaela Keller-Miller 4th, and Wayzata wins the team title. We talked to French after the race.
It's really exciting. I know it's kind of my last time out on this course and I've done it so many times. I definitely wanted to win, so it's fun.
And here's a look at the results, starting with the girls. Wayzata takes the top spot. Runner-up Edina also advances to state. Minnetonka's 3rd and Eden Prairie 4th. Benilde places 6th, Hopkins 7th, Armstrong 9th, and Cooper 13th. Wayzata's boys dominate to take the title, with Hopkins also moving on to state. Edina's 3rd and Washburn 4th. Armstrong and Cooper are 7 and 8 with Benilde 11th. We'll have Section 5AA highlights Friday at 4. The state meet is November 1st. Other cross-country teams are headed back to state, and the Wayzata boys soccer team is also in the state tournament. The Trojans meeting Rochester John Marshall in the AA quarterfinals. First half, off the quick set piece, John Marshall's Ashton Nauman rips a shot that goes just wide to keep it scoreless. Later in the first, Wayzata's Jason Lehman finds Arthur Perrins for the quick shot, but the Rockets' Ben Kellner stops a rocket there. It's scoreless at the half. That changes, though, a minute into the second half. The Trojans' Clayton Smith crosses the ball. It's off Clay Elmore to Perrins, who buries the chance. Wayzata goes up 1-0. Just 3 minutes later, it's Perrins again, and watch this individual effort. He beats the tackle of one defender, dribbles around another before putting the ball off of Kellner and in. The Trojans go up 2-0. Wayzata seals it with 11.5 to play. Ethan Took cuts his dribble back and finds a streaking Elmore for the goal. Wayzata wins 3-0. They face top seed Eastridge in the semifinals Tuesday at 11 a.m. at St. Cloud State. Park Center's girls soccer team is in the state tournament for the first time. The Pirates earn the number 3 seed in Class A. Park Center facing Albert Lee in the quarterfinals. The Pirates create chances. Josie Pay's pass is deflected by Abby Arsenault, but goalkeeper Catherine Flaherty grabs it right at the goal line. And Molly Monson sends it ahead to Cassie Hemming, who makes a great move and fires, but she is denied by Flaherty's diving stop to keep it 0-0. But right before halftime, after the corner kick, Jill Rosby's shot doesn't have a lot on it, but it rolls through the D and past Flaherty. Park Center grabs the lead 25 seconds before halftime. They continue to dominate in the second half, only to be turned away by Flaherty. But the Pirates do win 1-0. They'll take on second seed Orono in the semifinals Wednesday at St. Cloud State. Local big school football teams hit the field Friday night for opening round play in Class 6A. Maple Grove is the number 1 seed in Section 5, and they boast a 7-1 record. The Crimson have had a dominant season with one exception, a 1-point loss to Osseo in Game 7. That helped the Crimson refocus for what they hope is a long playoff run.
It was a kind of a wake-up call, as you would say. It refocused, re-energized, put us all right in the right direction to really dig deep and be ready for this playoffs here. So.
Oh, we're feeling good. We're not worried about the Osseo loss too much. We're going into the playoffs strong, just watching film, reading our keys, staying with the basics, and finish strong.
It, I thought, exposed us in some ways. So as coaches, it made us do some tweaks and some differences and things like that. And so I think in the long run, it's going to be a good thing. I don't think it really, I think our kids are still confident kids. I think they still believe they can do great things. And I think it allowed them a little bit of a chance to step back and say, what makes us great is how we prepare.
The Crimson host Coon Rapids Friday night at 7 o'clock. So big night of football Friday, and then also Saturday for a few local teams.
All right, thanks a lot, Jay. In Local Vote 2014, we take a look at candidates running for Congress in Minnesota's 5th District.
Incumbent Keith Ellison was first elected to the seat in 2006. He faces Republican Doug Daggett, who has a long career in technology and software sales.
Hi, I'm Doug Daggett, and I'm honored to be the Republican Party's endorsed candidate for Minnesota's 5th Congressional District to the United States Congress. I love Minneapolis and our surrounding communities, but I'm concerned for our future. I'm running for Congress because I can better represent our fellow citizens into the future than our office holder of the past 8 years, Mr. Keith Ellison. Over the past 8 years, far too many of our fellow citizens have experienced a decrease to their standard of living and a loss of confidence in the future. When you elect me, Doug Daggett, to Congress, I will work tirelessly to restore and expand opportunities so that all of us have the best chance for a secure and prosperous future. Go to DougDaggettForCongress.org to learn more.
The defining issue of our time is income inequality and the need to expand economic opportunity. This means raising the minimum wage so that no one who works full-time has to struggle to feed their family or pay their bills. It means investing in education and making college more affordable by reducing student debt. It means investing in infrastructure to rebuild America and to create good-paying jobs. And it means a fair tax system, not rigged against the middle class and riddled with special interest loopholes. As my hero, Paul Wellstone, used to say, we all do better when we all do better. I say everybody counts, everybody matters. My name is Keith Ellison. I'm the congressman from the 5th District, and I ask for your vote so I can keep fighting for economic opportunity.
Still ahead, a cosmic wonder enjoyed the proper way in Champlin.
We'll be right back. This has been a banner season for sky watchers. There have been 2 lunar eclipses, and today there is a partial solar eclipse visible in most of North America.
It began at 4:08 p.m. Central Time when the moon blocked part of the sun. And here in the upper Midwest, approximately 65% of the sun will be eclipsed. However, to see this solar event, you will need special eyewear.
And you've got to get about 75 to 80% of the sun gone before you actually start to notice that it's getting dark outside. So the people walking around today in this afternoon won't really notice it. But if you have some eclipse glasses or the proper solar filters, you look up at the sun and you'll see the moon covering up about half the sun.
A special viewing of the eclipse is taking place at the Jackson Observatory in Champlin. But remember, never look at the sun with your naked eye. And they say even sunglasses don't offer enough protection. You find a safe way to do it.
You need the glasses those kids had. What an opportunity for them to see.
That's it for now. Thanks so much for joining us, everyone.
We'll see you back here tomorrow. Community Corner is coming up next.